Hi, my name is Richard Sanders, and today we're going to do something a little bit crazy. How many people here like card tricks? Bummer. We're going to be doing a rope trick. I'm going to give this out to be examined to somebody. Gentleman over here, you don't look too busy. Please, there, would you examine it? Thank you. And in fact, I have another piece of rope, a little bit smaller. Would you examine that one as well? And I need kind of a big guy, real macho man. You, sir, perfect. That one's for you. Go crazy. There we go. You're examining the ropes. You're actually biting yours. Give me that back. That's a little strange. You've examined this rope, and of course you have examined this rope. 3 ropes examined by 3 very strange people. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to create the illusion that these 3 ropes are the same size simply by doing this. See? Okay. Maybe it's the lighting. Hold on. If I put it in the right lighting, it almost seems like the ropes are the same size. Check it out, really. If you look at them, this end here, this rope here, is the same size as this rope here, which is the same size as this rope here. Actually, you know what? Maybe this is too confusing. Too many things. Let me get rid of one of the ropes. We'll just do the trick with 2 ropes. In fact, you know what? Let's use 1. That's probably going to be easier. In fact, if you just missed that a second ago, I had 2 ropes. And then from those 2 ropes, we made 1. Wait a minute. Maybe it's too confusing. Again, you know what? Forget about the rope itself. Just watch the ends. In fact, watch this end shoot up my sleeve. Around the other side. That tickles. That's weird. Let's send the other end across. That's the second end, and that's the middle. Again, confusing because you're not sure what to watch for, and it's happening quickly. Let me show you how that trick happened in slow motion. Here's what happened. I threw the middle over to here. Then I took the ends, and you'll see it in slow motion, and they traveled down here. Like so. Okay, again, too confusing. You know what? Forget it. Let's just use... Oh, that's embarrassing. Let me put those away. No one saw... Oh, wait. Now I just have a loop. In fact, sir, can you just say stop? Right there. Perfect. I'll get the ends, and I'll put them back on the rope. So we're back to normal. Or are we? Because you see, this works with static electricity. Look, I get a little static over here, a little static over here, and the 2 ends join. That's weird. Don't worry, I'm a professional, though. That's right. I carry extra ends. Let me find a good spot. Right about there. See, we can put the ends back on. In case you missed that, a second ago, we didn't have ends. Then I took the ends and we put them on. Remember, we had no ends, and then I took the ends and I literally just threw them onto the rope. Okay, forget about the ends, because the ends aren't the thing to worry about. It's actually the middle. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let's take that middle. I'll put it right there. That's perfect. And you can see it drop right back on the rope, leaving a solid piece of rope. But you remember, this is an illusion. In fact, an illusion with 1, 2, 3 pieces of rope that you examined at the beginning. They were 3 ropes of 3 different sizes. And as you can see, this is the small one, this is the medium one, and this is the long one. Again, maybe you can't tell. It's the lighting. Here, look. I'll hold the medium piece here. I'll hold the long piece over here. See? And I'll hold the short piece right here in the middle. Look, I'll break the illusion. Now, there's the short piece. There's the medium piece. There's the long piece. That's the trick. Elevator down, please. Piece of rope. This could be examined by anybody in the audience. It's kind of long. I also have a smaller piece. Let's right on this shoulder. I knew it was there. Again, pretty solid, could be examined by just about anybody. And I also have kind of a medium piece. This could be examined by no one. It's really gimmicked. No, it's not. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to create the illusion that the 3 ropes are the same size. To do that, I hold them like this. Just by moving my hands, you almost have the impression that the ropes are evening out to about the same length. That's just an illusion. Because, of course, it's impossible. I mean, for a small rope to be the same size as a long rope to be the same size as a medium rope. That's You know what? Too many things to follow. Let me get rid of that. That's a little strange. We'll just do it with 2 ropes. Look at this, 2 ropes. You know what? In fact, let's start over with just 1 rope. That's probably a little better. In fact, forget the rope itself. Just watch the ends. In fact, this end here, make sure it's here and not here. Sorry. This end goes across as well. That leaves the middle. Hold on. Let me show you how I did that, because that was strange. This works by gravity. You see, if the ends are up here with gravity, whoop, they travel down there. That was strange. You know what? Forget this whole thing. Even, we don't even need the ends. You know, we'll just use a middle. This is weird. Sir, can you just say stop, please? Right there? Perfect. I'll grab the ends, put them back on the rope. That's great. Of course, this works with static electricity. I'm sure you understand. I get a little static over here, get a little static over here, and the 2 ends join together. To do this, though, you got to carry, that's right, extra ends. I've got a couple over here. All I do is put them on over there. Now, the problem is if you put ends on, you can't take them off. Sorry about that. Let me put those back on. That's better. Oh, sorry. That's my fault. I put them back on the wrong side. Let me take them off there and put them up there. Much better. Again, these are ends that can't. Sorry, let me put those back. It's actually not the ends that you have to worry about. It's actually the middle, because the middle comes off. Sorry, let me pop that back on. That's much better over there. Here's the thing. This is all an illusion. All an illusion done with 1, 2, 3 pieces of rope that you examine at the very beginning. Each of these pieces was a different size, and it is. As you can tell, this is the long rope. See? Maybe it's the lighting. See the long rope? That's the medium rope, that's the small rope, and that's the trick. Thank you, good night. Hi. Sorry, you caught me off guard. We're back here in the explanation time. This is where we reveal all the tricks, all the secrets, and show you how you can do the trick that we just did. I'm going to stop doing this with my hands now. Okay, to do this trick, here's what you're going to need. You're going to need a couple of pieces of rope. The exact lengths are 9 inches. This is a small one. It's a 9-inch length of rope. The medium one is a 26-inch piece of rope, and the third one is a 47-inch piece of rope. Now, these are cut to my specifications, the way I'm comfortable with it. But depending on yourself, you might want the ropes a little shorter or a little longer. So if you do, here's how you measure the ropes. Take your longest rope, fold it in half like this. Then take your small rope, fold it inside of the long rope. So you basically have what looks like 2 U's, a big U and a small U. You little, you big. I don't know what that means either. But this will give you the length of rope that you need for your medium piece. So when you put this here, you want to make the medium piece so that it's the same length from the top of these 2 all the way to the bottom of these 2, right there. So basically you can take any length of rope. If your long rope is shorter and it only came to there, then your medium rope would only come to there as well. So you'd have 3 pieces that length. So that's how you gauge the lengths of the pieces of rope that you want. Okay? For sake of explanation, we'll assume you're using the same size that I mentioned. Here's how you begin the trick. I like to have the 3 ropes examined. You can do that. It depends on your personality. This is a trick that can be done close up. It can be done on stage. There's a lot of possibilities for it. In the routine, there are many different phases. You can use all the phases, or you can only use parts of them. You can add parts to your routines, but whatever you do, there's a lot of different things in it. Let's begin. To actually begin a routine, I have the 3 ropes examined. I begin by taking back the longest piece. There's a reason for that, because I'm going to lay it into my hand so that there's about 3 or 4 inches, maybe 5 or 6, I don't know, something like that. And it's going to be positioned in my left hand like so. The base of it, the base of my fingers near my pinky, that's going to be where this long piece lies. And it kind of goes at a diagonal over my fingers like that. That's very important. You'll see why in a moment. So I grab the rope from the person. I put the rope into that position. Then I grab the small piece, and I'm going to lay it over this one in an X fashion, like that, okay? So when I grab the rope, I put it over this one so it forms an X. Okay? From your perspective, I'm going to turn my hand around. It would be like so, the X. Okay? Now here's the move. I'm going to do it from your perspective. As I go to grab the third piece of rope, that's your misdirection. As you go to reach over to grab that third piece, here's what happens. The fingers twist this piece up and twist the long piece down. You don't even twist, actually. You just bring this up. You clip it with either your second or third finger. You could just bring it up this way or this way, whatever you're comfortable with. But when you bring it up and your hand comes up, this end will naturally fall like that. Okay? So that's the move. It's actually gravity. You bring this here and let that fall. And then squeeze your hand around it. So essentially what you have now is the short piece wrapped around the long piece, the long end coming around this way. But to the audience, it looks like you still have a small piece and a long piece in your hand. Okay? One more time in actual speed. Here, here. And put your hands around it. Okay? So we're going to come back around to the front. So you're in this position now as you're getting the third rope. You bring it up. You add the third rope to the bundle. Okay? Doesn't really matter where it goes. I like to place it right in between these two pieces. So I've got this loop here. Whoopsie daisy, I'll get that. Don't worry about it. Thank you. Nothing happened. So you've got this piece here. This piece comes over here. And so I hold it in front of this. So when I spread the ropes out like this, they see a small rope here, the medium rope here, and the long rope here. I'm just crunching them together so that the medium rope ends up in the middle. Okay, it's actually in between these two pieces. There we go. So now, to make the ropes go the same size, very simple. You grab this small piece, clip it between your first finger and second, and actually all you're really doing is pulling like this. I'll move the middle piece out of the way. What's actually happening, the long piece is just pulling down like this till they're the same size. And that's the move. But when you cover it like this, you don't want that part visible to the audience. Grab here, and I wrap my index finger and thumb around the other pieces so it looks like all the pieces are in my hand. But really, the only piece I'm pulling on is this piece. But if I keep my hand here, they can't tell where I'm pulling, and it just looks like all the ropes are suddenly getting to be the same length, and they are. So that's how you get the ropes to be the same length. Now we're going to go into the false count. Okay, here we go. This is how you count the ropes as 3 separate pieces of rope the same length. In your hand, you have your loop of small rope and your loop of big rope here. You also have your regular piece of rope. The regular piece of rope is in your hand next to the other pieces, and these I transfer from my left hand to my right like this. Okay, because I'm going to use my left hand to count. I start the count by actually pulling out the medium regular piece, counting 1. Okay, now as I do this, as this clears my hand to here, you'll notice that there is a gap, obviously, in between the loop of long rope. In that gap, I'm just going to put my fingers. It's just done casually. You don't make a big move out of it. As you pull your hand out, I put my fingers in between that gap right here. Okay? So right there. So as this is pulled out, boom, sorry. So from here, as it's pulled out, fingers go in the gap. Because now I'm going to go in to supposedly pull the second length of rope out. What actually happens is this, 2 things, and I'm going to turn around so you can get a view from behind for this, from your perspective. Here's what's happening. You have your fingers in between the 2 loops. You're going to come over to supposedly take the second loop. This is held between your first finger and thumb of the left hand. As you come in, your second finger extends here. Okay? It's going to extend behind these 2 loops as you place this right into the crotch of your thumb right here. This gets placed into the crotch of your thumb as this second finger and first finger are now going to clip this piece here. So I think you can get a view of that. Okay? So this comes here, grab with your thumb. This gets clipped between these two fingers, and you pull both out. Now, because your fingers were already in the middle of those two ropes, when you pull out, it's naturally going to pull that rope separately so that it looks like a separate rope. So we'll try that one more time so that you can see it from your perspective. You pull the real rope out. As you do, your fingers go inside the loop. You go to pull the second one out. As you do, this gets pushed into the thumb. These get clipped, simultaneously pulled out as these fingers ride against the rope, showing 2. And then lastly, you come in, grab this third one, which is actually the one you had before, and just pull it out, counting 3. Okay? So I'm going to do the whole thing from your perspective in regular speed. 1, 2, 3. From the front now, I'm going to turn around. You'll see that when we do it again, there's 1, here comes number 2, and here's number 3. And that's a false count. Okay, we've false counted the chords. Now we're going to go into the actual phase 1 of the rope routine. You're now going to remove the actual medium piece. You're going to remove it saying, maybe there's too many pieces. Let's get rid of this one. I always put it into a pocket which is out of view. I'll put it in my back pocket. You don't want this in view at this point because you want all focus on these ropes here. You then show these ropes as 2 simply by holding them in the middle where they meet, like so. If you really want to get finesseful on it, I don't know if finesseful is a word, but you can actually just, by putting your thumb over that loop, you can actually show it on both sides. I don't know why you necessarily want to, but you can. Come back on this side. So here you are, showing 2 pieces of rope. Here's the first restoration. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to reach down and grab this piece of rope near the bottom. Okay? You're going to grab it, and notice the pinky is holding onto it like this. There's a reason for that, because what you're going to do is you're now going to come up, and this is the move. You're basically going to quickly grab this piece here in your right hand, and you're going to let go of the rest like that. Okay? So that's all that's happening. If you focus on this piece right here, hand comes up, grabs, and lets go, and the rope will automatically restore. So in actual speed, when you're down in this position, you just grab, the rope restores. You want to speed that up when you do that. You don't want to be doing that in slow motion. You really want to grab that rope as quickly as you can. You almost just practice doing that. That's it. And the rope restores. Okay, we're now going to explain one of the basic principles of the rope routine. It's the end switch. This is used many times throughout the routine, so this is the move you really got to learn. And what it is, you're holding the long rope in the base of your right fingers, held by your pinky at the bottom, like that. Okay? And the small rope is held in the hand like that. It gives the illusion that this is one continuous piece of rope. In reality, it's 2. Okay? Now here's what's going to happen. You're going to show the rope. You're going to bring your left hand up the length of the rope so that you've got kind of an equal distance on either side. In reality, this is the real side. This is your side with the small piece. What it's going to look like is you're just throwing the ends over each other like this and moving your hand down. What you've actually done is switched the ends that were visible for the actual small rope folded in half. And here's how that's done. Here's the move. First, from the front, from the audience perspective, you're going to hold it in your hand with a piece dangling out kind of diagonally, like you did with the end switch right at the beginning of the routine. This piece gets thrown over it in an X fashion like that. What's going to happen is very similar to that first switch at the beginning. This is going to come down and brought over to here. When it's here, you're going to let go and you're going to grab this piece that's in view. So let go here, grab here. Place it here, bring it around, let go, grab here. So what you've essentially done is you're still showing 2 ends, but you've switched it for the small loop running around the big loop, okay? And the long loop is hold together right here. I'm going to show you from your perspective right now, okay? Here we go. The two ropes are held here. This rope gets thrown on top, X fashion. Bring it underneath. It's actually easy if you clip it with the second finger there. So just bring it, clip it, and grab here. And bring this around. So you're actually just bringing this all the way around and taking this piece if you want to do it in one kind of continuous sweep. That's basically what's happening. Bring it around, clip, switch. So now you've switched the ends right here, okay? That's from your perspective. One more time, around, clip. You're actually pulling it around the index finger, like so, and coming down. Okay, back to the other perspective. What's going to happen now, you've switched the ends, you have them here. You're now going to pull them down the rope. As you do, you're actually just pulling the ends down the rope. As you do, about halfway down, you're going to unloop these pieces. So what you're going to do is you're just going to push this piece around the rope so it comes around the other side. And you're going to continue moving down the rope, clipped on your pinky, like that. Let's do that again. You're going to come here, around, switch the ends. As you come down, push this piece around and up as you pull down. It actually looks very difficult when you do it in slow motion, but it's actually one of those things that it's very simple to do because it's done. When you're moving down the rope, it's the bigger movement hides the smaller movement. So as you come down, you switch like so, okay? From your perspective, the twirly magician. Okay, here we go. So here we go. Here's your ends. Switch, pull down, push this around, and continue pulling like so. So you now have two ends here. One more time. Here, around, pull down, out, around, here. Last time in actual speed, it looks like this. And you're in this position. Okay. That is what I like to call the end switch. So, the second phase of the routine, once you've restored the rope, is you're going to cut the rope and then restore it again a second time. To cut the rope, you're going to use the basic switching of the ends move, as we learned earlier, where you come around, switch, pull down. For this move in particular, this is the only move, well, one other move actually, you're not going to unhook the ends. So you're not going to do the standard unhook here. You're just going to pull it down all the way, keeping them hooked together. Okay? So once again, you're going to do the actual move. Don't unhook, just pull them down. Okay? So you're in this position. You're then going to extend your two fingers, your first finger and second finger. That's what I name mine. And you're going to pretend to cut the rope. So all you do is just bring your fingers in and go. I find that with your mouth really adds to it. You do this. Try it at home, you'll like it. Come back down. You've cut the rope. So you've cut the rope like that. And so to the audience, it looks like you just visually cut the rope. You show the two ropes and you say, in case you didn't see that, a moment ago I cut the rope and then I restored it. You're going to restore it a second time. You can use the exact same move which we discussed before, which was the grab, let go. I like to change it up sometimes, and I do this one occasionally as well. Same technique. You grab this rope at the bottom, but I hold my hand underneath this loop part. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually let this fall. As it falls, this looks tricky, and it's not simple, but it's one of those things you gain confidence of through practice. As it falls down, I'm going to grab this part and continue to let it fall. So it's actually gravity that does it. If we come back to that position, Watch, I let it go and I just grab this as it comes and passes. So you want to make sure that this is kind of even with your hand when it falls. So it looks like this. And it just restores. Try that again. So you grab this piece, hold it here, let it go, and it restores immediately. So that is a second phase. So or you can restore it the other way, but either way, restore the rope a second time. What's going to happen, this is the start of all the fun, because a lot of really visual, cool things start to happen here. What you're going to do now is you're going to use your end switch again, bring it down, show the loop here. You're now going to make it look like the ends are traveling up your sleeve around into this hand. To do that, here's what happens. So you're in this position, small loop here, big loop there. The middle is actually here of the long rope. Okay? As you're in this position, casually just I lay my index finger on top of the loop so it's actually clipped here. Okay? You could be here, just move your finger there. Okay? That's going to become important in a minute, this position. So here's what happens. You pull this into your hand like that. Once it's out of view, you pretend to flick it up your sleeve in what I like to call bad breakdancing technique. You flick here, you do. And then when it looks like people think not necessarily that the rope flew around, they think maybe you're having a small seizure. You actually, because of my breakdancing technique, but generally if you're good, it'll look good. You flick this up like this. Here's the move. When it comes around to the right hand, you flick it up like that. That's it. Very simple. So when you put the two together, you push that in. It really looks like it flies around. Okay? Now, you're going to cause the next end to travel. To do that, you're going to push the next end in, but when you push it into your hand, you're not going to push it in all the way. You're going to push it in so that when that last piece goes down, you're actually just going to push your thumb down on it. So it's actually held against your finger with your thumb, but it's out of view. The reason you want to keep that held there is because you're going to need to get a hold of it later. So go like that. To all intents and purposes, it looks like it's pushed in your hand. Pretend to swing it around again, and now on the right-hand side, you're simply going to drop the other end like this. Okay? It looks like the other end has traveled across. Now your pinky on this hand here is going to just catch underneath and now just pull, showing the middle over there and the piece of rope. To now get rid of these ends here, what you're going to do is you're going to place your hands together for a moment as if playing with the rope. When you do, your right hand is going to come over. This is the exposed view because it happens this way. Actually, yeah, it happens this way. As you come over, you're going to grab this piece of rope, okay, here, and you're going to start to pull it out. At the same time as the right hand is moving up, this left hand is going to stroke down on the rope. Okay, so as I grab here, the left hand releases from here and just pulls down on the rope like this and brings it into view up here. Okay, so one more time. These are pushed down into your hand. You've got a grip on that top piece. You're here. You grab, left hand pulls down, bring the rope back up like this. And now you're back in starting position and ready to go. With the small loop here, ready. Small piece, ready to go. This is a sliding end section. This is a lot of fun. This move, when you do this for laymen, literally, you can almost see their eyes pop out because it's really visual. Here's what happens. You're going to do your end switch again. Up and over, switch, come down, unloop. Basic end switch. But now you're going to tell them, as you heard in the patter, you're explaining you're going to do it in slow motion. So what you do is you throw the middle over here, catch it. Now I take the ends. Now this is important. Here's what happens. You're in this position and you pull the rope taut, okay? Because you want to have this length of rope on top over here. It's almost acting like a clothesline. So it's held very taut. Because what you're going to do is you're going to lay this piece, which is a small piece folded, on top of it like that. Okay? That's all you're really doing. You're putting it on top. Because this is taut, it'll give it something to hold on to. Okay? You don't reveal that straight away. You show this, put it on top, keep your hand there. To the layman, it just seems like you're putting the ends there. At the last minute, you let go. When you do, you tilt the rope down. I'm going to do this slowly so you see what's happening. What's actually happening is the rope is going to, by friction alone, move down the rope. It's actually the little piece moving down like this. When it gets to here, this move takes a bit of a knack. What you're actually going to do is you're going to let go of this piece here. Okay? I'm going to bring my hand down so you can see this. I'm going to hold it in position because here's the move that happens. You're going to let go with this piece. At the same time, grab this piece here in this hand. Okay? So you let go. This is coming down here. I'm holding this in position. This wouldn't be held normally, but I'm holding it so you can see this. This lets go, and you grab this end all in one move. So one more time, taking it from the top, rope goes here, and it falls down the rope, and you catch it there and let go. Let's do that one more time so that we can follow this. Come back here, rope goes on top, taut here, comes down the rope, and at the last minute, I'm doing this slowly, catch it here and let go there. Okay? Last time, I really want you to get this because it's a little confusing to watch. Comes down the rope. When it comes to about here, it literally almost hits your hand. So once it does that, just grab it and let the other fall. Okay? So what you essentially get when you watch the actual move now in actual speed is you get a really visual idea that the ends just flew down to the other side. Back into starting position. Okay, we're now going to take the ends off the rope, and I love doing this. I have a lot of fun pulling the ends off the rope because you can do this interchangeably anytime in the routine. So, here we go. You do the basic end switch. Pull this down. I pull it about halfway, and I then let go of everything except the small piece. So I'm left in this position, which is very shocking the first time someone sees this. Now, I will mention one or two things about the psychology of this. I find the best time to do it is right after the end switch. So I don't want to do this, come over here, talk for a while, and then let it fall. I'd rather do the end switch straight away and pull off because they just saw the ends and now they're just off. Either way, it's a little something. Either way is certainly as good as the other. I prefer doing it that way. But you let the ends drop. You say, whoops, sorry, that's embarrassing. Put that in your pocket. As you go to put it in your pocket, I'm going to put it in my pocket so the ends are facing down, the middle is facing up. Okay? So you're going to leave it that way because you're going to need to get a hold of it that way. You're going to come back here, and now you're going to do, which is what's basically a standard move in Magic, the endless loop move. I just have a few subtleties on it, which I'll explain, that I think improve it for me anyways, and hopefully they'll help you with it as well. It's a beautiful move either way, the endless loop move, and this is it, the classic move. You've got the two ends held in your hand like this. You're going to come over and you're going to stroke the rope and you're going to let go. Stroke the rope, let go. That's all that's really happening. Let's try not to get it looped up over on the bottom. So your left hand comes over, strokes, lets go, strokes, lets go. If you do it continuously, it looks like it's a solid piece of rope. Okay? The only subtlety that I added is I'll move my thumb because I found that the right hand was a little too non-moving and the left hand was a lot, and people would say things like, he's a very good magician, but his right hand never moves. So what I'll do is I'll move my right thumb like this. So it gives the illusion that the right hand is moving along with the left. Okay, so I'll do that a few times. So it's just your right thumb doing this as you hold it. It's held with your second finger here and pinky there. So you can just do that. Even when I'm not doing it, I'll sometimes do that move. As I'm talking to people, I'll say, you guys seem like a very nice group. And it's funny, I don't do that. Okay, so anyway, you do this. You go there. You now ask the spectator to say stop. Now here's a neat move because you're actually only moving about this length each time, okay? So that's it. So wherever the spectator says stop, it's going to be right there, because all I'm doing is this. Can you just say stop right there? Fine. If they say stop here, fine. It's always the same place, which is good, because it leaves you in this position. So you loop that over and you hold it with your first finger. You say, let me get the ends. You pretend to get the ends out of your pocket. In fact, you get nothing, okay? But you bring your hand up as if it holds the ends, and then you're going to look like you deposit the ends on top. All you're really doing here is you're opening your hand. At the same time, you're pulling this rope up through your hand and pulling the ends out like that, okay? So in actual speed, you go like this, okay? And it looks like you just put the ends on the rope. It's a nothing move, but it gives the illusion that the ends are back on. You then show the rope. You can have the rope examined at this point if you want, or you can go on to the next phase. Oh, sorry. Here's what you need. We're going to cause the ends to actually fuse together. This is one of my favorite parts in the routine because it's super visual and a lot of fun to do. Actually quite easy. You explain to the audience, you just place the ends back on. Now you tell them to fuse them together. All it is static electricity. Here's what you do. This is a move based on a Jay Sankey trick where he restored two pieces of cards together. And I applied it to rope, and it's got a really visual look to it. Here's what happens. You want to start with about 2 or 3, maybe 2 inches sticking out of each side of the rope like this, and say it's static that makes them join. This is very important to show them this part, because you want to leave this snapshot in their mind of this position. Because now what's going to happen is you're going to take the right piece in your right hand and you're going to rub it on your left elbow as if to get some static on it. Then you're going to take your left hand and rub it on your right elbow as if to get some static on it. Now here's where the funny business takes place, because as you rub it on your left elbow, your right hand is actually, as you can see, it's not just resting in view, it's actually resting behind your left elbow over here, out of view. And that's important because you start by rubbing here, then when you rub here, it goes out of view, and you focus all attention here. As this is out of view, you're actually going to pull it into your fingers like this. Okay, so it's actually out. There's no piece sticking out of your hand. This happens behind your left elbow. But you're focusing here on the left elbow. As you bring your hands out again, your left hand is going to ride along your right forearm, and your right hand is going to ride behind it over here out of view. So they're actually going to meet right here in the middle. The minute your right hand comes over here, it literally grabs this piece and pulls out. Okay? And then you continue into the false loop move. But the impression is that they join right here at that spot. Again, here, pulling it in, come out, grab, and pull immediately. Gives the illusion they join together. I'll do it one more time. Rub, rub, whoops. One more time. Rub, rub, grab, and loop. Here's what's going to happen. It's going to look like the ends are going to be passed back onto the rope. You're in this position where you've just supposedly linked the ends together. You show it as an endless loop, and you say, don't worry, I'm a professional. I have extra ends. This is now held in your hand in the standard position at this point. Loop. You go into your pocket, and this time you really do pull out the ends, but you pull them out of your pocket by holding it right at where the middle is, like this. And you bring it out like this, so it looks like 2 pieces of rope. Okay? Very important. I always like to show 2 pieces. Don't show it like this, because to me, obviously, I think it's a giveaway. I've seen magicians do it like this. Much better to keep it this way. It looks like 2 ends. Now what you're going to do is you're going to make it look like you pass the 2 ends onto the rope. What's going to happen here is this. In your let's start with the left hand. The left hand is going to hold the pieces in your left hand between your thumb and first finger, like so. Okay? Your other fingers are going to extend like this. specifically your second finger. Because what's going to happen as you come over to the right rope, the rope in your right hand, your fingers extend. You're going to come down to a point about this long. You're going to come to a point as if your rope was hanging down from here, so about right there, okay? So you come down there. You're going to grab with your left hand and clip between your left second finger and first finger there. You're going to throw this piece down this way, okay? At the same time, you're going to quickly grab one of these ends and let it come out like this, okay? So let's take that one more time. The end's here, come over, clip here, throw down, grab here. That's the move. One more time. Clip, throw, grab. In actual speed, when you add a little finesse to it, I bring my hand up this way, okay? I don't, you could just bring it across, but I like to bring it up because you stop. Here's what happens. In actual speed, it looks like this. It literally looks like you just tossed the ends onto the rope. Okay, we'll try that again. Watch. In actual speed, watch. There it is. So that's the move. I'll give it to you one more time from your perspective. Watch. Here's the rope, held here. Extend, grab, clipped over here. Let's try that this way. Clipped over here. This gets thrown. This gets grabbed and pull out. Like that. Okay? In actual speed, it looks like that. Okay. So you've just taken the ends off and you've just put the ends visually on the rope. Very stunning move. At this point, you're going to repeat pulling the ends off. So you're going to do your unloop move, come over here, pull them off again, and say something to the extent of, I could have sworn the ends were just off like this, but they couldn't be because they're on the rope. You're now going to link them onto the rope using a different move. What's going to happen here, you're going to bring your left hand down from on top to on top of the loop, this way. When you do, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to turn around again for this. Here's what's going to happen. As you bring it down, your right hand is going to come up. As it comes up behind, you're going to grab here with your fingers and let this piece flick over like that. So let's see that. Up, flick over. Up, flick over. And lastly, grab this piece out. So it looks like this. Up, flick over, grab here quickly. In actual speed, you're doing this. Okay, one more time. In actual speed, you are doing this. In slow motion, whoosh, here, let go, grab here. I'm going to do it from your perspective now as I come back around. So you're going to come over, let this flick off, bring this down here. In actual speed, it looks like this. So it looks like you just laid the pieces on again. Watch. What's neat is you can actually just do the move over and over again. Say, look, I pull it on, pull it off. Pull it off, put it on. I wouldn't repeat that too many times, but it's just fun. It's a fun way to practice. Okay. You're now going to do one final way to make the ends go on the rope. So again, pull them off using the standard move. This time, you're going to do a move where you're actually going to throw the ends onto the rope. Okay, here's what's going to happen. So let's start with your right hand over here. Okay, your right hand is simply going to let go of this end. It's going to fall like that while you continue holding on here. So the right end falls as you hold on there. The left pieces, here's what's going to happen. You're actually going to throw them. I'm going to let one end fall so you can see this. You're actually going to throw them. You're going to aim this end for this hand. That's the easiest way to do it. And just catch it here. So the ends will unfold and you'll catch it there. So that's what it looks like. Okay? So you throw to this hand and catch it here. When you put the two moves together, this piece held here, you're going to let go here at the same time as you grab here. What it ends up looking like is this. There's the ends, throw, and it looks like they just were thrown literally onto the rope. And those are a couple of ways to get the ends on and off the rope. The middle, she's a coming off the rope now. Here's what you do. To get the middle off the rope, it makes sense because you fool around with the ends so much. This is a fun thing. You're going to come over and do the standard add-on move as you would with a cut and restored rope. So here's what's going to happen. The little piece is held in my hand here. As I come over, I grab this piece and just pull. So I'm pulling down to get the middle of the rope. It runs over my index finger of my left hand, like this. I'm now going to come back up. The same time this gets pulled into my hand. As I come back up, I'm going to grab that end right here. Then I'm going to come down and I'm going to place that end there as I continue to move my hand down the rope, finally letting go down here. So what I've actually done is added the loop to the top of the rope up here. Okay? So we'll do that again, just so you're sure of it. That piece is here. You come over, you're here. You pull this down on your finger, place this into your hand, come up, add the piece, come down, place the piece as you stroke down the rope. You want to focus your attention down the rope over here to get some misdirection for this loop. I'll show you that in actual speed. When you've got the rope here, you're just toying with the rope as you're talking to the audience. And I talk about if the ends came off, and I'm talking about the ends, so everyone's thinking about this. The ends aren't what I need to worry about. It's right up here, the middle. At that point, you're just literally pulling that up, holding this hidden with your right fingers. And of course, keeping these pieces here just held in your hand like that. So it looks like the middle just came off the rope. To get it back on the rope, my right hand is now going to go down and grab one of the ends of the rope, this end here. I grab it right there in my hand. Two things are going to happen at the same time. I'm bringing this end up, and I'm going to put the loop right in the middle of the rope. That's what it's going to look like I'm depositing the middle there so that I can restore it. But here's what actually happens. As my hand comes over here, my index finger extends. Normally it's impolite to point, but here it's okay. You come over, my index finger, here's what's going to happen from behind. Your index finger extends like this, and you push, you come over here, your index finger actually goes into the loop in your hand and pulls it up like that. You want to pull it up about the same amount as this loop. So we'll come over. As you come over, index finger extends, push this up about that amount. Okay, that's one thing that happens. This happens in your left hand. Meanwhile, in your right hand, as you're doing this, this right hand is going to let go of this piece, like that. Okay, and just let it dangle there. So what ends up happening is, you come over with the loop, to supposedly put it here, you let go there of the piece. It's fallen as you pull up. So now when you come away, it looks like you're holding just a loop of rope in the middle. One more time. Here's the loop. Come over to supposedly put it here. As I come over, I literally drop the end, and that's when I pull up. So it's one continuous action of coming over, drop, pull. It looks like you've just transferred the middle to your hand here. In reality, you've now got the end held in your hand here. Okay? We'll do this from the other perspective now. So one more time. You've supposedly pulled the ends, the middle off. You reach down, pull this part. As you go here, your finger extends. As it extends, when you're behind this left hand, you drop this loop. So when I'm behind here, I drop the loop and pull up with my finger at the same time. So it now looks like I've deposited the middle right here. In reality, it's right here. I give a blow and I just let it fall so that it looks like it actually restores back onto the rope. And I pull. We now enter the final phase of the rope routine. Okay, here is the final phase of the rope routine. This is where you're going to bring the ropes that they've seen as 3 same size ropes. You're going to bring them back to that position and then bring the 3 same size ropes back to the original position where they were all different. I have no idea what I just said, but I hope it made sense. Watch, here's what you do. The ends are here. To finish off, you now are going to do the loop move, where switching the ends. You're not going to unloop the piece that you normally do. You're going to bring it back same way, just here. Hold the rope. You're going to do the scissor move that you learned before. You pretend, you say, but if you remember at the beginning, this is how you bring it into play. You say, this is an illusion done with 1, cut, 2, and then you reach into your back pocket and pull out that other piece, 3 pieces of rope. You lay this here. You then do the false count again, counting 1, 2, 3 pieces of equal rope. But these ropes were actually different sizes. And here's how you restore the ropes to their different sizes. There are 2 techniques I use here. Let's do technique number 1. You've got your 1 loop, small loop, big loop, and your medium piece. Grab the one of the ends of the long loop. I'll take that out of the way. One of the ends of the long loop, and you're going to hand it to a spectator. Okay? Or you can actually, if you don't have a spectator handy, you can actually hold it in your mouth. I did that on the video, but that's just because I'm showing you guys on video. But I normally hand it to a spectator. So 1 spectator holds here. I will hold it in my mouth again because, well, I'm alone. What a sad life. Okay, so here's 1 spectator holding this piece. Supposedly the long one, you tell them. They don't believe you because it's one of the medium pieces. You then hand this piece, please stop that, which is actually the actual medium piece. You hand that to spectator number 2. So here's your position. We're going to lay it along the table so you can see it. See? Isn't that cute? There's spectator number 1 holding the medium piece. This is the exposed view. Spectator 2 holding the long piece. You are supposedly holding this piece right here. Here's what's going to happen to end the routine. Okay. You may hear a little sound shuffling. That's me stuffing that rope down my shirt. What a life. Here we go. Here's how you restore it. This, of course, is held out of the audience's view. This is the exposed view. On the count of 3, you say, we'll break the illusion. Here's what happens. You're going to actually hold on to 1 piece of the small loop, small rope. I actually clip it between my first finger and second finger like this. This piece is the one I hold on to. I'm going to drop these 2. When I drop these 2, what's going to happen in slow motion is this. These will fall down. This will be here. This will be here, and the long piece will be here. So again, here's what happens. Sounds a little confusing, but it actually is not confusing at all. Hand the long piece, spectator 1, here. Other piece, spectator 2, here. You're supposedly holding this piece. Let go of everything except the 1 piece, and here's what happens. Watch. And you're left with 3 completely different size pieces of rope. Very visual ending and a fun way to end the trick. There is one additional way to do this as well. If you are standing and there are no spectators around and you don't want to put pieces of rope in your mouth, which I don't blame you, here's what you do. You've got your regular position right here, and right here. You're now going to say, look, these are 3 completely different size pieces of rope. In fact, this piece is the long rope. Can you tell? Maybe it's the lighting here. See, long rope. There's the short piece, and there's the medium. So that's how you would do it. Here's the actual method. I'm going to hold it this way so you can see it. There's the position. You've got these two held here, this one here. You hand this piece to a spectator. Sorry, this is not that one. You take this piece and you're going to hold it up saying this is the long piece. Maybe it's the lighting. As you adjust it to pull it up, you're going to let go of this piece. When that piece falls, this piece will unravel and it'll look like this. It'll immediately change into a big piece. You throw that down, you then show the small piece and the medium piece, and that's how you would end the routine. You have about, if we can get a little bit of a close-up on this, you have about 3 or 4 inches which come out of they're clipped between your second finger and first finger, okay? This is the basic starting position. The other rope with your right hand, which is holding the small loop, has the rope over the hand. This hand clipped. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to come over casually. From your perspective, you're going to come over, loop this little loop over your fingers, throw it over like this, and then grab this piece here. Okay? So that's the basic switch. You're going to come over here, throw that over, and grab that, and then pull immediately like so, while repositioning the rope at the same time in your fingers like this. Okay, so one more time. Throw over, grab here, pull like that. From the front, it's going to look simply to the audience. I'm going to do this slowly, but because your hand comes over like this, by the time you let go of this end, you're practically down here, already catching this end. So visually, in full motion, you cannot see the switch at all. We'll do that again. In full speed, you can come in a little closer for this. Sorry, I was looking into the camera because I wanted to make sure you had the right perspective. That pushes in and comes down. So by the time you actually let go of this end, you're already down here grabbing this end. So they see 2 ends, 2 ends, still 2 ends. So the switch is pretty much impossible to see, in actual speed especially. By the time you're here, you've already switched. You've got really the 2 ends here. These, of course, is the small loop looped around the middle over here. So one more time from the front, this is what happens. You show the ends, and you simply do that. And you have switched the ends. There's the small loop there, and here's the main rope with the 2 ends here. That is the loop switch. The end switch, excuse me. I should get the name of my tricks, titles proper. End switch. You will cut the rope with your fingers. It'll look like you cut the rope with your fingers. To do it very simply, you do the end switch, the basic switch. You're now in a position where you have 2 ends over here. What you're going to do is just raise your 2 fingers, raise your index finger in the air as if saying, well, I've got some scissors here. I'll just take my 2 fingers and cut down. What's going to happen is this. You're going to bring your finger down. You'll notice that the rope, if we get in close, is naturally held here in my hand, and you have this piece here. Let's get that there. So you have this piece over here around the second finger. My first finger is going to hold up like this and then cut down. As it does, it just holds over this piece, and that'll happen. It just goes, that comes into view. At the same time, you're going to drop this piece, so it looks like that. So it gives the illusion of cutting the rope. So I'll do that again in actual speed so that you see what's happening. Well, first I'll do the actual cutting in slow motion. So you cut, drop, and that's what happens. Okay? Cut, and drop. The two at the same time make it look like you just cut the rope. In actual speed, complete with the switch of ends is you have a solid loop of rope and you cut it with your hand like that. You do the end switch again, come back here, do the same cut again, pretend to cut the rope, show the two ends like that. Now you're going to restore the rope, but visually. This is a really pretty move. You're going to turn slightly towards the audience so that your left hand is facing them and you're slightly turned to the right. And what you're going to do is you're going to grab one of the ends and you're going to slightly pull. You're going to begin to pull these ends deeper into your hand. If we can close up on this. Okay? In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn around so that you can see it from this perspective. So you're going to slightly pull the ends into your hand, okay, evenly. So there's not so much sticking out of your hands at this point. There's about that much. What you're going to do is you're going to hold this loop here. You're going to toss down and you're going to let go of this middle piece. That middle piece will fall down. As it does, the audience is on this side at this point. You're going to just pull down on these ends as you toss. You're going to pull down with these ends and let go of the rope like that. Okay? I guess we'll zoom out a little bit for this. So once more, taking it right from here, let's assume you've done your end switch. You're over here, you've cut the rope. You show two ropes. You now grab one of the ends, bring it up here, and you've pulled a little bit of the rope into your hand at this point. So you've got a little bit of a large portion of it is scrunched into the hand, and you're left with a small portion here. You want a small portion here because you're going to push this down like this, out of the way. If there was a big portion still sticking up when you did this, chances are it might show. So that's why you pull it into your hand a little bit. And you're going to let go of this piece while bending this in, like this. One more time. Okay, so you come here, do your end switch, pretend to cut the rope, come over here, pull this in slightly, and now you're going to come over and you're going to let go, you're going to pull down and push back, pull these ends back. And it looks, from behind, it looks like this. From the front, it looks like this. You've done your end switch. Here we go. You've done your end switch. You've cut the rope. You're now going to come over. You're pulling the ends in slightly, as if, I'm pulling them in here as if to say, watch the ends really closely. And now you're going to throw, and at the same time, push them in this way. And it looks like that. At this point, the rope dangles this way, and my right hand casually moves down this way. Okay, but all eyes look there. I'll do it one more time. Push down. You're just going to push the ends in like that as you throw down that way. Gives you a very pretty visual restoration. The cleanup now, as you come back up, it's natural for the hands to come together. So, from behind, we zoom in on this. My fingers are kind of hiding it at this point because I'm hiding it from the audience's view. As my hands come back up together, this is your perspective. As my hands come back up together, I grab one of the ends as my other hand pushes down the rope, and I end up pulling it out of the hand as I pull up the rope. Okay? So from the front, I'll do it slowly. You've just done your restoration. You get your boom, come up, the hands touch. As I turn around, the hands touch. I grab a small piece out of here, pull it out of my hand as this hand moves down the rope. Okay? So it looks like just a casual stroking of the rope. Okay? Don't say stroking the rope in public too often. Here you go. You take it, shakuk, restore, come back up, hands casually do that, and it seems like a very casual movement, and you've got the ends back in position, ready for the next phase. what I like to do is a visual way to pull the ends off. So when you've got the ends here, you immediately go into the switch and immediately pull the ends off. What that looks like is this. It looks like the ends just melt off the rope. They see the two ends and now they're off the rope. It's a really cool visual move. Two ends, melt off the rope. Because of the end switch, it makes it possible. It's just the end switch that we did before, but immediately pulling off. That's it. Okay? So slow motion. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay? So instead of pulling it down the rope as you normally do, you pull it off straight away. So you show two ends, and they immediately come off. Very, very visual. Lay audience's eyes literally pop at that point. 2 to 3 inches, I've seen it from my peripheral when I'm doing it. So you've pulled the ends off. Now here's another really cool way to get the ends back on. We've already done the method where you put them on this way. But here's what we're going to do with this method. You're going to make it look as if you're throwing the loop onto the ends. Now this takes a little practice, but it's worth it. What's going to happen is you're literally going to throw the rope like this. As you throw it, this end is going to get caught right here. It's going to get caught by these fingers as it's thrown here. So whoop, it gets caught there. At the same time, you're literally going to grab that in your hand. Okay, but you're doing this in kind of a throwing motion. So you're doing it as you throw like that. So two things are happening. One, the first thing that's happening, I'll just use this hand's motion, is you're actually just grabbing this here. Okay, grabbing that there. The second thing that's happening, I'm going to get rid of this for a moment, is you're grabbing this here. So this hand is going to throw and grab at the same time. When you put the two together, you're getting something that looks like this. And the end is here, of course. So pull off and throw them back on. It's really visual. Doesn't get much more visual than that. Boom. Okay, here's another way to get the ends back on the rope. Kind of cool. You grab it, you do your end switch, pull the ends off, and then you're going to come in and you're going to make it look as if you're throwing the ends onto the rope, like that. Do that one more time. Do your end switch. Then it's going to look like you're throwing the ends onto the rope, like so. Very visual. Once again, starting position, you've just pulled the ends off. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to make it look as if you're throwing the ends to the rope. Here's what's actually happening. This is a bit of a knack. This is probably the toughest one to get, but it's worth the effort. What you're going to do is you're going to throw it up. As you do, when it gets close, you're going to gently toss this rope, and you're going to clip it between these two fingers, between your second finger and your curled index finger. So you're going to slightly catch that. So as you go to throw up here, you're going to toss that there. And at the same time, I'll let go of this piece, you're going to throw this piece up and catch it here. So you're going to throw this piece up, catch it here, dunk. So as you do that, you're also at the same time going to clip the other piece. I know it sounds confusing, but really it's a knacky thing, and once you get it, you are well on your way. So you come over, and you're going to throw here, catch, at the same time, gently toss, clip here. Looks like this. I'll try and do it in slow motion. Hup. That's slow mo. I've never done it in slow motion before. I believe gravity just stopped for a moment. One more time. Shop. Very difficult to do in slow motion, but in actual speed, you get this going. Take it, throw. Gravity didn't help me that time. So in actual speed, you take the ends and you throw them like this. And that's when it happens. Okay. Now, here's another really cool thing as well. Sometimes in the routine I'll say the unfortunate part, I do the regular end switch, but pull it like we did before, is I put the ends in the wrong spot. So let's start again. You say, unfortunately, I put the ends in the wrong spot. Here, let me take them off here. You just pull them from there, and then repeat the first move we learned where you clip it here and put them up here. So it looks really cool. It looks like the ends are just pulled off one end and put on the other. That's a really neat move as well. You now take you grab, you've got your fake piece here, you grab the middle with your hand, come over, grab this piece here in your hand, come back down, put the other piece in your hand, and continue pulling down the rope. So it looks like you've just casually stroked the rope. Again, don't say stroke the rope in public too often. So you come over, grab the middle, place, place, pull down. So you've secretly added the loop on top of the rope. You pull down, show the rope like this, then pull it back and explain that you just restored it. You grab one of the ends. This is happening in the offbeat. And now you grab right here, you grab this loop out of your hand. As you do, you pull down and you now let go and show that the rope has restored. So one more time, loop is added on, pull it off, showing that the middle comes off, put it back, come back here, grab one of the ends on the offbeat, grab one end from here on the offbeat, pull up, and show the loop. The loop is back, restored on the rope. My rope. Here's what we're going to do. You give this rope out to be examined. It can be examined by anybody, including small animals. If you'd like, you can have a dog chew on it and they'll find it's quite fresh. You then say, look, we need some scissors. I think I brought some with me. Actually, it doesn't matter. We don't need scissors. I'm a magician. Why don't I just take my two fingers and just cut the rope? Two ropes. Actually, they're not the right size. Let's start over. This will be better. I forgot. When I cut the rope, I have to cut them exactly in the middle. That's perfect. See, now when they're cut exactly in the middle, you can actually restore the rope quite visually with just a regular piece of rope. Now, you have to be careful when you're doing a trick like this, because always remember that the ends need to be here and not here. Hold on, wait. This end is here. That's the middle. You see, what happened is sometimes the ends in the middle switch places and I don't realize it. Well, I could show you how that happens in slow motion. Watch. Slow motion. Ends. Middle. Kind of strange. You know what? Maybe let's forget about the ends. It's too much to follow. Let's... Sorry, that's embarrassing. Let me put the ends here. We'll just... Oh, great. Now, that's great. We can't even... can someone just say stop right there? Perfect. I'll grab the ends, put them back on the rope. Of course, now I can't do too much with it. Let me show you how this works. This is static electricity. Get a little static on each end and they weld together. Hold on, I'm a professional. I've got extra ends. Find a good spot and put the ends right back there. That's perfect. So now the ends are exactly where they need to be. Sorry. Let me throw the loop onto the ends. That's perfect. Now, whenever you're doing this, never ever remove the ends. Oh no, it happened again. Look, I'll just throw the ends onto the rope like that. That's probably easier. But whatever you do, remember, never ever have the ends on the wrong spot, because then you have to take them and put them up to the right spot. See, that's better. The thing about this whole thing, it's not really the ends that bother me. It's the middle. Coming off. Look, let me put it back. See, that's a good spot, and now it's good as new. But remember, this is a trick with a piece of rope that was examined by the audience. And very slowly to finish, I'll put it in my pocket. Say the magic words my father once told me when I was a young boy. Chicka chicka ching bots. And look, the ends come back, leaving just the middle. Svetlana! You'll get yourself a length of rope, which is about this length. It's about this length between your two arms, okay, approximately. This rope itself is about 4 feet, I would say. In addition to that, you're going to need a small piece of rope. This is 9 inches long. It's a small piece, and those are all you're going to need for the trick. The small piece starts off in your left-hand pocket, just lightly looped. The reason it starts off here is because this is where it ends every time you do the trick. The little piece of rope will end up in this pocket. And the reset, the trick is automatically reset to perform it again and again and again. So it's perfect for cocktails or table hopping situation. You take out your rope, you introduce it, you can have someone examine it, have your spectators look at it. You say, oh, and you grab it by the 2 ends, okay? Say one other thing, I need some scissors. You're now going to go into your pocket to supposedly get the scissors, like this, because it's quite natural. You're holding the rope, I need some scissors. But when your hands go in your pocket, your left hand will grab the end of the long piece of rope, of the short piece of rope, excuse me, in your pocket. It grabs it and it comes out like this. Okay, so you've grabbed this out and you say, and now I'm going to transfer it into my right hand because I've just gone into my pocket. My hand comes here, strokes this rope, grabs it, lets go with this rope as I stroke the rope down here. Okay, so in one continuous action, this is in the pocket. I say, I need some scissors. I had some here somewhere. And the rope is now transferred. So it's very casual, and you get the extra loop where you need it. To end the routine now, you're going to do a standard move which I first saw demonstrated by Flip in his fabulous rope routine. This is a rope routine which is around in the 80s. I saw it on a Videonics videotape. But this is the basic move, and I'm not sure if it's Flip's, but it's become a classic. You do your end switch. You now take these ends, put them into your pocket. Of course, these are just the fake small piece. Put them in your pocket. You then say, look, and you pretend to follow the end travel up the rope. And notice that the rope is clipped here because as it gets to here, I pop it into view. So it looks like I put the ends in, I say, watch this end travel up to there, and this end, and I just grab here, travel over there. Of course, that leaves the middle in the pocket. And at that point, you're clean. You leave the rope with the audience. You could put it away if you're table hopping. And when you're ready to do the routine again, you pull your rope out. Because this loop is back in your pocket, you're reset to start again by taking the rope, walking up to your next group, and saying, I need some scissors, as we did at the beginning, and then grabbing that extra loop here, that extra end here, transferring it, and saying, well, I don't need scissors because I can do it with my own fingers. And you snip the rope, and you go into it from there, back into the routine. So it's automatically reset after you do the trick. The rope that I highly recommend, though, is called Elite Magician's Rope. This is manufactured by Camarand Academy of Magic. I've found this to be the best quality rope. And because it's a rope that you're never going to cut, I think the best quality rope is the way to go on this because you can use this rope over and over and over. So I hope you really enjoyed this routine. It's a lot of fun to do. You don't have to use all the moves in one shot. You can intersperse them. You can make a short routine, a long routine. Great routine to do table hopping. Great on stage if you've got a lot of gags to add with it. Super visual magic. Packs in your pockets. You can literally, I've done 5 minutes with these ropes. Just fit in my pocket. And I've done it for 500 people on a cruise ship. Or 3 people at a table hopping, or in a cocktail situation. Either way, have fun with it. And whatever you do, don't drive while doing it. Good night.